We are losing ground faster than we are making it, because Bitcoin, again, right here, ended up taking its sweet time to rise up and erased almost all of that move very, very quickly thereafter. If we zoom in, this is still just bot action that's taking place, so it's really nothing that I'm too worried about. You know, if this were real humans selling off, then of course that's a little bit more worrying, but this is literally, I mean, the dump just starts and then it just, you know, goes the whole way down, right? So that's not supernatural, especially when you consider the kind of, you know, swings that are happening down here and you know, just these weird wicks that we're getting. These are obviously just signs of bots controlling the market, but it does have some implications for where we could be going. There's some big ideas here that I want to discuss with you in this video, including if Bitcoin's going to be slipping deeper into the teens, or if we can recover back above 20K. Before I get into that though, the S&P 500 is going to be the star of today's YouTube video because it has finally reached my support level. You guys are going to remember that I've had this green box drawn out for quite a while. It stretches between 3,900 and 4,000, and this is basically the best area of support that I can see for the S&P 500 until we come down between these two green lines, right? And these two green lines are you know, what marked the February 2020 high. So this is just leading into the coronavirus market crash, and then a little bit of consolidation that we saw around like autumn of 2020 as well. This area is below our prior low, so if we fall down here, that means we're actively still in a downtrend. That's not a good sign, but that does mean that basically our best area of support that we have available right now, according to what I'm seeing at least, is going to be this 39 to 4,000 area right here, which is where the S&P 500 is right now. And so the first thing that I want to do is just start looking at, you know, are there signs that this thing could be ready to reverse? The reason that these questions are important is because when the S&P 500 is doing bad, Bitcoin is doing much worse. But when the S&P 500 is doing good, Bitcoin is generally doing well as well. There's a pretty clear positive correlation where Bitcoin just kind of follows what the S&P 500 does. You know, and given that Bitcoin's chart is so manipulated right now, it's very important to look at a chart which is moving in a much more healthy, easy to understand way, right? So this chart I think is a lot easier to understand than Bitcoin. You don't get that weird action on the S&P 500 because there's a lot of regulation and so on, a lot more liquidity. There's a lot of reasons. But here's the thing. The bad news is if we take a look at these fibs right here for retracements, I don't think we've really fallen down to any particularly significant levels. We're down to the 0.5 Fibonacci right here. I'm open to seeing this 618 get tested so that we drop just a little bit lower, about another 90 points down. If we can fall down to the bottom of this range, capture a bit of support, and then rally up, I think that would be absolutely beautiful. That would take us a fair bit lower, and actually from our high, that means like right now we are down by 7%. But if we fall down to what I'm saying, that is a total drawdown of 10. But that does, I think, then give us a really, really nice platform to start rising up. I'm not seeing any indicators that are providing any meaningful support. There's probably some moving averages actually. If we take a look at this on a larger time frame, like the weekly, let's take a look at the weekly. Let's see if there's anything going on here. Yeah, not really looking at much, but the moving averages are converging. That is not a great sign, but actually weekly chart still doesn't look bad at all. And the daily, yeah, we have just potentially lost this 200-day moving average. Is this the 200? No, this is the 50. This is the 200-day moving average. Look at that rejection. That's actually pretty spot on right there. So I think this is going to be a very significant line for resistance in the future. However, yeah, if the S&P 500 is able to rise up now, you know, kind of from this zone anywhere here or 100 points lower, I think we're not doing too bad. You know, we take a look at how this might translate over to Bitcoin, and again, you know, I think this is just going to be much the same case where Bitcoin is potentially, you know, ranging in some way, whether that means, let's take a different chart. Let's take a chart where I don't have any drawings or where I don't need the drawings. Maybe it's time to, yeah, I think it's time to delete these drawings here. We don't need these. You know, if we take a look at what Bitcoin has been doing just with this pattern of setting you know, these quite typical kind of parallel channels here. It could be that Bitcoin is getting ready to do something like this again, you know, so that's something that I'm keeping an eye on. They don't need to be rising channels, you know, they could just as easily be, you know, quite straightforward vanilla, you know, kind of horizontal channels. This would be even nicer, you know, but it doesn't really matter. Bottom line, the market's just kind of, you know, ranging. If it stays stuck between 19.5 and 20.5, you know what I mean? I mean, this is not even a 10% range anymore in our price, right? So it's really not that big of a deal. It's like a 4 or 5% range. This is fine if Bitcoin just kind of swings between it. Where I'll get a little bit more concerned is if we sweep this low, right? If we sweep this low, the problem in this range is that we don't actually have much real support. You know, we've traded around this level a little bit, you know, back here and back here, but we don't really have super clearly defined levels in this range, right? So if we start losing levels like 19.5, I'm gonna have to expect that we revisit the range lows, you know, and that's gonna mean the very high $17,000 range, unfortunately. So I don't want to see this level get lost right here. You know, I think there are a few signs that are pointing towards this just being a kind of temporary blip for the market. You know, Ethereum was in a really bullish pattern against Bitcoin. It fell out of that pattern. We're back in it, but we just got rejected at this resistance line beautifully, literally just perfectly on time. I really love seeing stuff like this, ladies and gents. It actually makes me very, like, it genuinely makes me happy when TA is followed so well. You know, and so this is showing me that we've just basically got potentially another, you know, nothing crazy, just like a little 4% hit on Ethereum against Bitcoin before potentially being able to, you know, maybe get that breakout and things get exciting again. Really, guys, I don't see the scope of how that's going to happen right now, but I do know that a lot of people are getting quite bearish. I want to see how this updates right here. You know, I don't think that these numbers are necessarily reflecting reality anymore, and I think that people are actually, you know, finally starting to flip that switch. We haven't seen this reflected in the longs too much. They have come down. The ratio was more than 2 yesterday on Binance. Bybit right now is 1-for-1. FTX is 1-for-1. All of these were heavily skewed more long yesterday than they are today, you know, so we are making a little bit of progress here, you know, in people closing out those long positions. So we're moving in the right direction, still not where we want to be, but we are moving in the right direction. So I think that as we, you know, kind of hang about these lows, as people, you know, are getting a little bit more scared just with that time pressure being applied, we might still have some opportunities in these markets to enter some really interesting areas. So now, like I said earlier in this video, if we end up losing this range low, we could be looking at this local low, we could be looking at dropping much lower down towards that kind of 15K range. That would obviously give us a lot of crazy volatility. And just before I continue, guys, I want to highlight BitGet, because this is one of the exchanges that I'm working with here. I've actually been using their exchange over this last month, and they are actually offering you $8,000 potentially in bonuses for signing up using my link. So there's a lot of volatility in the market right now. There's a lot to be taking advantage of, and if you haven't already got an account with these guys, they're well worth checking out. They do all the standard stuff that you're used to, but they've also got some extra cool things that I haven't actually seen with other exchanges, and more importantly than all of that, they're giving you fucking $8,000. So go get your free money, check it out with the link in the description down below. I've also made an overview video on BitGet, so I'm going to put that in the description for you as well, just below the like button. But you know, like I said, this would bring us a lot of volatility. I think we could be looking at quite a big drop if we end up kind of falling down there, and this is all based off this one big chart that I showed you guys a little while back. Take a look at this. This was actually the me painting out the ranges here to show you what the market could end up kind of entering, right? Something a little bit like this. It looks like that's what we're in right now, right? And so, by the way, guys, if we actually you know, manage to now rally to the top and then get rejected again, this is going to put us in the most fucking obvious accumulation range I've ever seen in my life. You know, and that would actually be the most bullish thing that this market can do. You know, if we ended up forming a pattern like that, I would actually expect that we're going to be able to hit levels like 50-60K you know, by Q1 Q2 of 2023. You know, I think Q1 is super doable. You know, so I'm just putting that out there. You know, these kind of patterns are really nice. We have to be patient with it, though. We have to wait and see how this develops. But you know, one of the big things that I want to just focus your attention on right here is just that Bitcoin is in a bit of a kind of, you know, wedge situation right here, where you know, its support level would be around the kind of 15k range. Let me just show you what this looks like. If Bitcoin is now going to be kind of falling down to the bottom of this range, it lines up with this right here. It could actually drop us a lot lower. It just depends on how you draw these lines. But if we are looking at now, kind of testing the bottom of this range again, that does put us around about over there. I like the fact that it lines up with our yellow box, and it's not necessarily a bearish thing either, because if we end up kind of we can't stay in patterns like this forever, where the price action just keeps getting more and more narrow, right? It doesn't go on forever. So at some point you've got to break out, and I just don't think that that we're going to be able to bounce off support and then get rejected again. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think that if we hit support next, it's going to be a very straightforward run to the to the sky. If something like this happens, it's actually one of the most bullish ideas I've got. We have to see how it goes first. Right now it's not quite looking like we've got the strength for it, but that might very well change if we do visit some levels a little bit lower. So that's the kind of downside explained, and then on the upside, it's kind of the same story as yesterday, guys. So if you have been subscribed to the channel, you're already going to know all about this. Shout out to those of you who are. The main thing to do now is just going to be seeing if Bitcoin can reclaim this high at 20.4. If we can, the new resistance level is still 21. I'm sorry, it's not up there. The new resistance level is up here at 21. If we can break that, we've got 21.7. I'm not too worried about this area. I want to see if Bitcoin can break this one. More importantly, as you can see, these ranges are very, very tight. This is a very messy range. It's what I would call chop. This is a choppy range, but if we are able to get above these areas, then the key area to beat for Bitcoin is going to be right at the bottom of this box right here, this kind of 22.8. So we're still far away from the key levels we need to beat. We're showing signs of weakness, but we are showing signs that things could be coming back to a healthier place. Fear and greed index looking a little bit better, longs moving in the right direction, sentiment taking an absolute dump, S&P 500 now at a support level. The only thing that I don't like is the dollar. The dollar's still looking pretty strong. It's not really showing me any signs of slowing down. It's basically just moved up and now consolidating at a high. Guys, we know the drill. When a market, when anything moves up and then consolidates at a high, that's usually one of the biggest signs of strength that they can produce. So I'm still expecting the dollar to keep rallying hard, and this is the only thing that screws everything up for us here with Bitcoin and the S&P 500, because if the dollar does actually keep moving up, I really struggle to see a reality where Bitcoin is going to be able to hold its ground. So even the dollar, even gold, not sitting too happy right now, ladies and gents, dropping back down to that low $1,700 range per ounce. So there's a lot going on right here, a lot that we're following. Make sure you stay tuned to this channel while I give you some more analysis updates throughout these next days. Smash up the likes if you have enjoyed this one, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Go get your free 8 grand, ladies and gents. That is a lot of money. I've already made an overview video and tutorial on this exchange as well, so go check that out if you want to get familiar with it. These guys are offering way too much money to not take it up, so check it out in the description down below. And of course, if you want to jump inside VIP, watch how I'm going to be trading these markets in real time, then bam, this is the only way to join. The steps are on screen right here. First link in the description, then click on my name, then send message. Each of these links will take you to the next screenshot, so it's all quite straightforward. Really hope you have enjoyed this one. You know what to do, and I'm out. Bye bye.